Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And today we've got a battle here on the Overlord map with Chizza 66 in the American Tier 10 light tank, the Sheridan. Don't worry, we're not going to spend the first couple of minutes of this video talking about the Sheridan, what's good, what's bad. We're not going to have time. Don't worry, you'll understand soon. What's all this about then, Jingles? Well, Chizza's going to get the kind of results that, while it's not entirely uncommon, you don't get to see every day. Oh, I spy the first enemy casualty. Yes, one dead armoured car. Oh, what a shame. Said absolutely nobody. It's amazing how much those things are hated. And with good reason, because, well, they are bullshit. Friendly STB-1 took a couple of big hits on the way over there, but he's okay, and the rest of the enemy tanks guarding that ridge appear to have fallen back, so Chizza takes the opportunity to scoot over and join him. He's also reloaded his howitzer, which is incredibly bad news for the AMX-13-105, who survived that one by a miracle. Still, only one casualty inflicted overall so far, but the AMX, on less than 100 health, thinks it's a good idea to pop back over the top of the ridge and gets taken out by the other Sheridan on Chizza's team. And while we're on the subject of Sheridans, an enemy Sheridan apparently thinks it's a great idea and worth the risk trying to finish off the STB-1 by driving down in amongst this lot. Newsflash? It isn't. While all that was going on, by some miracle, Chizza's turret bounced a shot from an Object 277's 122mm gun. I didn't think that was allowed to happen, but hey, it did. 4 enemies dead. No casualties. It's not that the tanks on Chizza's team aren't taking hits. I mean, they quite obviously are. But the damage is kind of being spread out. Nobody on the enemy team appears to be trying to focus their fire. Or perhaps it's just that the tanks on Chizza's team aren't really giving them the opportunity to focus their fire. Object 277 there narrowly avoids becoming the 7th victim. The STB-1 finishes off a Brigitte 65, and then the Object 277 becomes the 8th victim. At this point, and I've taken control of the camera here because I thought Chizza was heading for the Foch 155, but he's pumped a shot into the IS-7 over there, although fired on the move and missed. Yeah, going after the Foch 155 alone would be risky, especially with an IS-7 behind you, so let's soften the IS-7 up. His gun's not pointing in this direction, it's perfectly safe. Very disappointing damage roll. I suspect that one exploded on his tracks. Hang on, what's the Foch 155 doing? Is he trying to cliff dive the Jaegeru? Let's be generous and say he was trying to cliff dive the Jaegeru and wasn't just suiciding. There goes the IS-7. One tank left alive on the enemy team. Spoiler alert, not for much longer. And there we go. A 15-0 defeat in just a fraction over 3 minutes. Wow. Well, congratulations, Chizza. Well done. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it, because that's it for today. And as always, No, I'm messing with you. Of course I am. So, for today's main event, we have a Tier 10 battle on the highway map featuring the Tier 9 E50 medium tank. And it's being played by, he's obviously German, I'll have a stab at pronouncing this, Kampfglier? As best as I can figure out, Kampf obviously is German for battle or struggle, and I think Glier is just a German name, so make of that what you will. Now, I have often said in the past that all of that cover and concealment in your own cap circle, you should try to drive over it and destroy it at the start of the battle on your way out. Because the only thing it does is provide concealment for the enemy team when they're capping your base. Kampfglier here appears to have taken that piece of advice to heart and is proceeding in typically German fashion to flatten every single piece of concealment in the cap circle. And some of it outside of the cap circle, although, you know, obviously this building here as well is going to obscure shots to anybody firing into the cap from the south. So, well, it's nice to see somebody taking the concept of base defence seriously at least, although way more seriously than I think anybody has any right to expect. I'm not sure it was a great idea to spend that much time at the beginning of the game just bulldozing buildings in the cap circle, but, well, clearly I'm in a minority here. I don't know, maybe it's a German thing. Well, actually, Jingles, said everybody from Austria and a lot of people from Switzerland. Just because his name's in German doesn't mean he's German. Yes, I know. And it's quite ironic that the most famous Austrian is a German and the most famous German is an Austrian, but it is what it is. What do you mean, who? Well, Hitler, obviously, the most famous German ever, was actually an Austrian, everybody knows that. And Mozart, the most famous Austrian ever, was actually a German. And I've now just upset everybody in Austria. But it's true. Mozart was born in Salzburg, and at the time it was part of Bavaria, which is German. Sorry, Austria, but it is what it is. Look, don't worry, if it's any consolation, you've still got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, anyway. Oh yeah, World of Tanks. So, don't worry, nothing much has happened. You haven't really missed anything. One tank's dead. That's it. WZ-132A got taken out. Ran all the way off to the northwest. Nobody followed him. He either wasn't paying attention or didn't care. And he got himself ruffle-stomped by at least 3 enemy tanks. Meanwhile, that EBR-90 over there is doing some very cheeky spotting on the ridge just to the west of the cap circle, and an enemy WZ-132A not doing nearly as good a job from the river in the middle of the map. And that's really the reason why everybody hates these armoured cars, because they're, despite their inferior view range, they're so much better at scouting than light tanks. Because it's just impossible to hit the little buggers, and if you are lucky enough to hit them, nothing much really seems to happen. They've got magical armour-piercing, shell-absorbing rubber wheels. And, well, you just saw what happens to light tanks when they try to do the same thing. It is no contest. Well, the scores are 2 kills to 3, so, you know, there's not a huge amount in it, but the team have given up most of the real estate on the map to the enemy. There's a solid fight going on in the town, but the Batchat and the Patton, and to a lesser degree Kampfgleer here in the E50, are kind of stuck here, thanks to the threat posed by, well, that EBR-90 keeps popping up and spotting targets for his teammates. Being a real pain in the arse. There he is. Yep, blew one of his wheels off, and what difference did it make? None whatsoever. Well, actually, Jingles, it slowed him down. None whatsoever. Be real nice to finish that little, but you've literally got to kill them to stop them. There we go. Finally, that's how you stop an armoured car. Doesn't matter how many of its wheels you blow off, you have to kill it. Of course, the EBR wasn't alone. He's been joined by a T-54. Oh, actually, that's a lot of enemy tanks. And the defenders are in serious trouble. The Patton's about to die. He's been shelled by artillery. The Batchat's managed to fall back. You see the benefit of knocking over most of those buildings. I mean, I'm not suggesting that everybody spends the first minute of each battle bulldozing everything in the cap circle, or around the cap circle, but you can't deny the value. It would have been extremely difficult to support the base defence, from here at least, if the enemy still had all of those buildings to hide behind on the way in. Nice shot there from the Gorilla 15. Kampfgleer tries, but he can't quite capitalise on it and finish off the Leopard 1. Goes for a shot on the UDES, scores a hit, but I'm not sure it was entirely worth the cost. He's just lost half of his health, mostly from the 711. Oh, and artillery are going for him as well. Took a flanking shot there from an Object 705A, somewhere over in that direction in the town. The friendly M46 Patton is dead, the Batchat's pulled back, presumably he's reloaded by now. That really just leaves the Batchat, who hopefully is reloaded, Kampfgleer here, and the Gorilla 15, but they're being pressed on all sides. Gorilla 15 just got another kill, but, well, it's not really a close quarters combat tank destroyer. Their artillery's being fired upon. Campflare takes another 2 hits. He's down to less than 100 health. So the base has now been effectively overrun. There are enemy tank destroyers shooting up their artillery, and the scores are 5 to 8, and he's got 58 health left. He is, however, providing he doesn't get rushed by more than one tank, and artillery doesn't start paying further attention to him, in a reasonably good defensive position. He should be able to take a shot at this Guerrilla 15 without attracting any enemy fire from those two over there, and he does. And if they want to come after him, they're going to have to expose their lower glacis as they come over the ridge in front of him, and I think the Batchat has definitely reloaded and is going for it. Go Gadget Frenchman takes on the UDES 16 first, finished off by the lone surviving artillery. Pretty sure the Batchat still has a couple of shots. Looks like he's trying to troll the T-54 into following him over this ridge, but the T-54 is having none of it, so the Batchat goes over the top again. I don't think he's got enough ammunition to finish off the T-54. Nope, I'm pretty sure he's now empty and is running away. Campflare, finish that guy off, will you? Oh, it's going to take another shot. Nice. So, well, that's beaten off the attack on the cap, which had effectively been overrun by the enemy team at one point. Campflare staying on the move to avoid the inevitable artillery follow-up. Although the enemy team were never in any danger of actually capping the base, but they did a pretty good job of killing most of the defenders until they were beaten back. Meanwhile, over there in the town to the south, things are not going well at all. There's a Super Conqueror who's completely surrounded, and further back, a Leopard prototype who appears to be held together by nothing more substantial than masking tape and prayers. The Super Conqueror has managed to finish off an IS-3-2, but that was inevitable. There were just too many enemy tanks on him. Campflare here in the E50 and that Leopard prototype don't have 100 health between the two of them. So why the Leopard prototype is driving further into the town instead of hightailing it back here where he can actually put his very accurate gun to good use is an utter mystery. But no, he decided that the best possible use of his remaining 40 health was to go and butt heads with the T-30, so that one ended about as predictably as you might have imagined. With 3 tanks remaining, Campflare's got a bit of a predicament here. What exactly is he going to do? He could stay at the base and defend the artillery, but, well, he might get 1, possibly 2 shots off before he got overrun and killed, and the artillery would be next. The Batchat, meanwhile, has been putting his time to good use, has made a run on the enemy base and has found and killed one of their artillery. And Campflare has just spotted the other one. Now, this may seem like an awfully risky move, but the artillery has such bad view range that he can't actually see who's shooting at him. The Batchat, meanwhile, is now sitting inside the enemy cap circle. And what Campflare does next is largely going to depend on how the enemy team react to that. Because at the moment, nobody is capping the friendly base, and the surviving GWE-100 hasn't spotted anybody, but, well, we've just seen what the view range of a GWE-100 is like, and somebody has gotten close enough to spot him and kill him. So, is he going to join the Batchat in the cap circle, or is he going to go back and defend the cap? See, it's not very far at all to the enemy base from the position where those 4 surviving enemy tanks were last spotted. And if any of them were going back to defend their own cap against the Batchat, you'd think, because he was in a pretty good position from which to see it happening, that Campflare would have spotted them by now. And he didn't. Which probably means that most, if not all of them, are instead making a move on Campflare's own cap circle over there. And sure enough, at least 3 of them are now in the cap circle. The Batchat wanted Campflare to join him in the enemy cap circle, but that ship has well and truly sailed if you look at how quickly the enemy team's 3 tanks in the cap circle are overhauling the Batchat's capture progress, and I'm pretty sure that Campflare was lurking around in the middle of the map so he could interdict any enemy tanks heading back to reset the Batchat, but also, when that proved to not be the case, he was in the perfect position to come back and do this. High explosive loaded because he doesn't have to kill anybody, he just has to inflict damage. There we go. Oh, it's not going to be enough. He's going to have to do it again and survive. And, well, yeah, that will definitely do it. Notice how not having to shoot through all of the buildings that he bulldozed at the beginning of the match proved to be shall we say, instrumental in securing a victory for the team. Now, once again, I'm not saying that everybody has to be as thoroughly German about it as Kampfglare here was. I'm just saying that if more people took his example and deviated slightly in your course as you scatter from the cap circle at the beginning of the match and take out as many of those buildings and obstacles as possible on your way to do something else, good things can happen. Because all of that shit in and around your cap circle, it's only of use to the enemy team. Kampfglare, well done. Slightly unorthodox tactics at the beginning of the game there, but hey, it resulted in a win for the team, so who's to say you were wrong? Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.